Hello and welcome to this episode of HBCU. I'm your host, Dee Brown CEO. Joining me on the show today is a Mississippi power couple, Roy and Kenecha Smith, making their way to HBCU via Tougaloo College. Welcome to HBCU. I'm glad to have y'all.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. So I know that you all met at Tougaloo College. And before we get there and get to the meeting, because we want to hear about that as well, Kenecha, I'm going to start with you. So how did you land at Tougaloo College?
I always wanted to attend an HBCU. My father passed away when I was 15, and I made him a promise that I would attend an HBCU. And I applied to Tougaloo. It was the first HBCU that I applied to and got accepted.
Okay. So, Roy, what about you? How did you choose Tougaloo?
Well, I'm a Jackson native, born and raised. I grew up probably less than 5 miles of Tougaloo. Spent a bunch of summers at Tougaloo, including NYSP, also summer science program. So Tougaloo was always a kind of a ground where I grew up and kind of nurtured me along. And once I got a chance to go to the summer science program, at the time I wanted to be a doctor. And I had scholarship offers, and Tougaloo just gave me more money at the last minute, so ended up in Tougaloo.
Okay. So now, Kenecha, do you remember your freshman year when you first made it to Tougaloo? What do you remember about those first days on campus?
Those first days on campus was filled with fraternities and sororities, welcoming individuals. And my advisor was welcoming. I just remember it having a family-like atmosphere.
Okay. Roy, what about you?
My freshman year was like I was at home. Like I said, I was born and raised there.
Yeah.
And my high school was, 2 streets over almost, so there was a lot of people from Jackson at Tougaloo. So it was like going from junior high to high school. Now it was high school to college with a lot of people that I knew. So I felt at home, and I could always go home and wash clothes if I wanted to, or eat home cooked meals. So I was away enough, but still at home. So it was very good.
Now, of course, there are several HBCUs in the state of Mississippi. What make Tougaloo stand out above the rest? What make it special?
The academic excellence. At the education program at Tougaloo was 5 years when I was there. And I can honestly say my time there prepared me for being an educator. There was no climate or no atmosphere that I could not function well in. And I felt like I was truly prepared.
Roy, was there anything about Tougaloo that in your mind just make it stand out from other HBCUs? Anything special?
In reference to schools in Mississippi, I often joke with my friends, SWAT schools or whatever, and say, well, we got so many people in the NFL, the NBA. Y'all don't have sports, y'all just got baseball or whatever. And I said, well, Tougaloo, we make doctors and lawyers while other schools make football players. So, probably I think it was last time I read about it or researched or seen anything, but over 50% of all black doctors and lawyers in the state of Mississippi graduated from Tougaloo.
Impressive statistics, yeah.
We make doctors and lawyers, while others make NFL and NBA players. So.
Okay. Now, one of the things that we always hear when we have guests that attend HBCUs, there's always this feeling of family and camaraderie that's different than attending most PWIs. Talk to me about campus life at Tougaloo, fraternities, sororities. I know both of you all became members of fraternities and sororities, so I'll let you kind of spill the bean on that yourselves. But so talk to me about that aspect of Tougaloo.
For me, I'm a lady of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and we are so close. Just this past weekend, I was with fellow AKAs on the coast. It's just that closeness and that bond that we have. The process was one that was warm and welcoming. Like I said, I wouldn't take anything for my education and my time at Tougaloo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the most important thing, what I enjoyed about Tougaloo is the nurturing atmosphere. A lot of times, kids come to college and especially going to a big PWI school where, you're just a number. At
Yeah.
Tougaloo, you had small classes and the professor actually knows your name and invest in you. Sometimes, it takes time for kids to mature away from home. So it kind of gives you an opportunity to grow up.
Right.
And
Right.
you might not have that opportunity at PWI because, hey, if you slip up, they don't care if if you make it or not. You're just a number. But I think that was very important, and I love that about Tougaloo. And as far as the camaraderie, I still have friends outside of my fraternity that I've been knowing and dealing with since some science programs. So it's 25, 20, a whole bunch of years. Go
Right.
way back. And sometimes that doesn't happen, with other schools and PWIs or whatever. So that's a big thing. And of course, I'm a Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity incorporated. Gamma Rho initiated in 1996, so I got a bunch of years in the frat as well. And I tell you that was a big. I mean, I enjoyed myself. I just say I enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
What changed for the world, man.
Right.
So as far as faculty, staff, employees there on campus, are there any that kind of stand out to you that you have memories of that either mentored you or helped you along the way? And if so, tell me about them.
Dr. Anderson in the education department was known for being this tough individual. She was tough because she truly cared about us and wanted us to excel. And during my last year there, we all went to eat. And I was so surprised because she could let her hair down and she was like, you all have made it. So I would say Dr. Anderson, she really pushed us in that education department to learn as much as we could so we could nurture children and give them a bright future.
What about you, Roy? Any memorable?
Yeah, I got a couple of them, man. I was a political science major / business minor. Most familiar for me would probably be Professor Knight, and he was over English. And Kenecha and I had Professor Knight together freshman year. But Professor Knight was he was a different character. He actually worked for Muhammad Ali back in the day. So he had Muhammad Ali stories and Chicago stories, So that brought stuff to life for us that we didn't see, from Mississippi,
Right.
As far as my major, I would probably say Dr. Holmes. He was the head of the political science department, and he really, really would push me to, outside the bounds or whatever, or boundaries of what I thought I could do. Because like I said, I wanted to be a doctor when I first got to Tougaloo, so I changed my major and ended up getting a political science award. I was the top political science student in my class. He would always make fun of me because, so I had a scholarship at Tulane Law School. I also had the highest LSAT. That part, Tougaloo, whatever. Anyway. So I had a scholarship with Tulane. At the last minute, I had a scholarship at Ole Miss, and I ended up going to Ole Miss. He was like, "Oh, you go to Ole Miss so you can be with that girl." He was talking about.
Well, I guess that proved to be true.
That's not why I went, man. It was more money at the end.
So tell me, how did you all end up meeting for the first time? What's your recollection? I want to see that they match up.
Roy, he talked about that English class, and in that class, he actually told me my freshman year, you're going to be my wife.
Wow.
And I was like, no, I'm not. But he was very persistent. Roy, if he wants something, he works hard. He's a go-getter. He's an out-of-the-box thinker, and he's a very hard worker. So he worked his way on into my heart. And 23 years later, we're still married.
So, Roy, what do you remember about first meeting Kenecha?
Something like that, man. It was something. She's pretty accurate, but I did tell her she was going to be my wife freshman year. and she had a boyfriend, high school sweetheart. But we didn't start dating to my junior year, so it took a lot of time. I worked, man. So 2 years work for no date. Now I got a date in junior year, and the rest is history.
So both of you all also attended Ole Miss, right?
No.
I went to a summer program. I was a McNair scholar after I left Tougaloo, and then I started to work for the university years down the road.
Okay. And Roy, you went there for law school.
Right.
Okay.
I was there from 94 to, no, that's too 98 to 2001, man. I tell you, getting old, man.
So I wanted to, go ahead, Roy. What were you saying?
So I was at Ole Miss at 98 to 2001.
Okay. So I want to know this, and Kenecha, I'll start with you. So how do you feel Tougaloo prepared you for your professional career?
I can honestly say there are so many people who jump in and out of professions. Teaching is just not, they can't handle the challenges sometimes. Like I said, Tougaloo gave me those skills and the tools that I need to work through any concern, any problem. As a classroom educator, I am proud to say that I didn't have discipline problems when my children entered the door. They knew that they were entering the classroom with someone who truly loved them and wanted the best for them. I feel like Tougaloo and all of the faculty and staff there helped us to realize what may be challenges to others will be easy for you because you have the tools to think things through and handle the tough situations. So I cannot say enough wonderful things about Tougaloo.
Hey, so Roy, I want to kind of hear from you about just Tougaloo preparing you for law school and then on to being the businessman that you are today.
As stated, initially when I first got to school, I wanted to be a doctor. And sometimes I still think I want to be a doctor. But anyway, I'm a little too old now. Okay, well, yeah, never too old. Anyway, so once I changed my major and kind of got focused on narrowing down what I wanted to do with my life, Tougaloo, the pre-law program, is unmatched in the state of Mississippi. Like I said, prepares a bunch of lawyers. And that gave me not say cockiness, but the strength to know that I could do it or do whatever I wanted to do if I put my mind to it. I had a professor who used to tell us, and I stopped skipping class after that. People always skip class or whatever in college. And he was like, Dr. Olibo, he's from Africa. He would say, I don't understand you all. He said, you're paying for this, so you're robbing yourself. I'm gonna get paid whether y'all come or not.
Right. So
when you don't come, you just throw your money away. And when I took that perspective, I was like, man, I ain't missing class. I can deal with y'all. We do, y'all gonna be doing the same thing when I get out of class.
Yeah.
And I apply that to life now. Some people say, hey, Roy, you look like you always. Well, I've already handled the business, while others are still playing, and I can still play when I get through handling my business.
Right.
So some of those things I take along with me. And being a business minor, I always knew that I wanted to work for myself or some phase or something like that. My mom used to always say when I was in high school, I may work a fast food job for 2 weeks or whatever. She said, well, did you give them 30 days? No, I quit. She said, you got to burn the bread. It's like, well, I don't plan on going back to Popeyes. So, I kind of developed a long time ago that the thing of, if I give you the power to feed me, then you have the power to starve me as well.
Yeah.
So I try to keep multiple streams of income. I learned that from business at Tougaloo, so I learned a lot of stuff at Tougaloo, man.
Hey, so Kenecha, I want to ask you this question: why do you think it's important that people of color continue to support and attend HBCUs?
Oh, it's so important. Our children have to see us and what behind those doors, all the life lessons that occur. Like Roy said, there's so many things when I think back to my time at Tougaloo that helped to shape me into the woman I am. That hard work ethic, that sense of pride, all of those things had a huge impact on my life. And I feel like for our children, we have said, no, education at an HBCU is priceless and needed.
Yeah. Roy, what do you think?
Well, matter of fact, too, we're having a discussion now. Tougaloo's enrollment is down, like historical numbers. And I mean, it's important to keep our HBCU door open. I mean, and a lot of kids don't understand that, you know, these HBCUs are here because at some time ago, you weren't able to go to those schools. Those opportunities weren't afforded to you.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's very important that we keep these doors open at these schools and not only keep them open, but thriving and credentialed, and where it's just not, hey, I'm going here, I got a high school diploma type of college degree, but to be at the top of the game or whatever, you know, the degree may be or whatever it may be, it needs to be not only open, but top notch.
Yeah.
And continue to grow. And because those schools have to be open, got to be.
So, Kenecha, tell me about your professional journey after leaving college. What was your first job, and kind of take me to what you're doing now?
You're going to love this, Dee.
First job was at Lyon Elementary in Clarksdale.
Oh, really?
Are you familiar with that school?
I'm very familiar with that school.
Dr. Brooks was there. She gave me my first job. I always wanted to teach third grade, and I got to teach third grade. It was one of the best places for me to learn. That family sense was there. We took pride in what we were doing, and I enjoyed that. And so after I left,
hold on, let me stop you right there. Dee, let me tell you this, man, before I forget. So she was at Lyon Elementary. That was our first year being married. My second year in law school. We lived in Batesville. She didn't have a car initially. So I would drive her to Clarksdale, drive all the way to Oxford to school, and drive back and pick up at Lyon and drive back to Batesville.
That's a good husband.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right.
I do 2 times a week, man.
So we made that work. We graduated from school. We moved to Jackson, and in Jackson, I taught at Watkins Elementary. I taught kindergarten there. And then I went on to teach in Madison County School, second grade. And then when we moved to North Mississippi, I started to work for the University of Mississippi in the Barksdale Reading Institute, all while pursuing a master's and a specialist degree. And now I am pursuing a doctoral degree from William Carey University, and I'm working for DeSoto County Schools and also consulting. I feel like I have gone around in a full circle in order to help the children of Mississippi. I am so invested. Some people have asked, why won't you move? I love our state. I love the children here and the families here, and I want the best for them. We too our babies deserve a bright future. So I work as diligently as I can to ensure that they have a seat at the table and a fair one.
Yeah. So, Kenecha, you mentioned your graduate degrees. So where did you get your master's degree from and your special?
From Mississippi College.
Mississippi College. And so were there any distinct differences between attending, say, Mississippi College and Tougaloo from the standpoint of just the whole experience?
Mississippi College was still a small Christian school, but that difference was that small family. At Tougaloo, like Roy said, I was known. My professors, they knew my name. If I was having difficulty or I had questions, they were there. And in Mississippi College, it was like that too, but the degree of it was different at Tougaloo.
Yeah.
Tougaloo, I was priority number one.
So, Roy, what was the difference between attending law school at Ole Miss and being in that collegiate environment versus Tougaloo?
I would say being from Jackson, and of course Jackson's majority minority black city or whatever. Besides, I guess maybe kindergarten, going to Ole Miss was my first time going to school with others outside of black race, so white people, whatever. And so it wasn't, I guess, a shock, but kind of sort of a shock a little bit. But what I remember is like maybe in the first couple of days, law school orientation or whatever, and it's all of us first year students there. And I was an Eastern Scholar, so it was only 6 Eastern Scholars at Ole Miss at that time. It was like the top scholarship. Anyway, so at that time there was a big talk, and they were talking about diversity. We had a black dean at the time as well. Anyway, we're talking about diversity, and some of the white students, they were voicing their opinion. Well, I think some of these students black students don't supposed to be here, hand out affirmative action, this, that, and the other, or whatever. And, I was just looking up, pay attention, look. And, I just ended up getting up and leaving because I feel like he wasn't talking to me because my LSAT score was much higher than the average, and I'm an Eastern Scholar. But what I did pick out those people who were doing all that chatter, and I said, I'm going to make sure I'm going to whoop you and show you that I deserve to be here.
Right.
So that came from my Tougaloo, knowing that I know what I know.
Yeah.
Given to me, I earned it. So let's fight for it. So that's how I've been living my life ever since, man.
So, Roy, tell me about your current business, your restoration business.
So I got involved with restoration by way of doing insurance adjusting. Go out and measure properties and write the estimate or whatever. And I see these water restoration guys, service masters, those type of companies come in, and they basically looking at and writing the estimate like I am. Well, they're doing this work just tearing up stuff, and they $6,000-7,000, profit margin, almost half of it.
Yeah.
So I did numbers. I said I need to find out how I can get involved with this. So that's how I got there, man. And actually taking my contractor license now to expand and grow. So that's the plan.
Okay. So I want to, as we get ready to wind the show down, I want to just hear from you all, just in your own words. What do you think that we can do as a community of color, people of color, to better support HBCUs?
I feel like alumni must give back. Mm-hmm. We have to have a seat at the table and voice things that need to be improved on our campuses. Make sure that we are communicating with students and advocating in our own communities for students to attend. I don't remember our 19-year-old saying that he had a large number of HBCUs at the school fair at his school. And so we have to be out and be vigilant about giving back, and then our children attending HBCUs and knowing that what they have available and that they are present.
Right. I agree. Roy, what about you?
Well, like you said, the grass grows where you water it. And if you love your HBCU, people need to give back and help fund stuff and be visible in the community. Mm-hmm. As far as, like you said, the career fairs or whatever, but just being visible and letting students know that this is an option. It's not a bad option.
Right. Right. Go ahead, bro.
It's kind of like what Dion was saying, but we know what happened with that. But you don't have to go to a PWI to be successful. Is what we have to also preach in our community and celebrate those students. Okay, they got 32 on the ACT at 33, and they got admitted to Harvard and whatever those schools. And what about being admitted to Spelman or Morehouse as being the top prize? Instead of making this PWI the top.
Right. I couldn't agree with you more. I want to close the show out by presenting both of you guys with our HBCU Lifetime Achievement Award for your continued commitment to the success of historically Black colleges and universities, and for your successful careers and all that you've done to support HBCUs. And so I really appreciate you all taking time to be on the show. We'll be getting these awards in the mail to you all, and I look forward to seeing you all in person real soon. To my viewers, thank you for watching this episode of HBCU. I'm your host, Dee Brown CEO, and remember, without you, there's no me.